A century ago, the remnants of an ancient Jewish tribe, living echoes of a bygone age, began their return to the land of Israel. The sense of togetherness and an abundance of musical talent are the unique traits of the Yemenite Jews. The Israeli composers, who until then had drawn their musical inspiration from their birthplaces, mainly Russia and Germany, were seeking new sounds to reflect those of ancient Israel. In the 1920s, at the encouragement of Chaim Nachman Bialik, verses from the Bible were set to a Yemenite melody which soon became the most popular Tu B'Shvat song. The Yemenite sense of togetherness in everyday life and in music was well suited to the atmosphere of camaraderie that typified the early days of settlement. Yemenites like Suleiman the Great and his musical family, and the traditional celebrations they organized, the Haflot, are as popular today as they were then. The Yemenites were very different from the other Jews who had arrived from the diaspora. The attitude at the time was to create a new and proud Jew, an alternative to the persecuted European Jew. The Yemenites were perceived as a perfect blend, combining the ancient world with the new one. Their influence is evident in all the arts: drawing, painting, jewelry making, dance, and of course, music. The trend of the Israeli composers since the 1930s had been to combine Near Eastern musical elements with European techniques. Composers such as Paul Ben Chaim, Mordechai Setter, and others were captivated by Yemenite melodies. This influence is also felt in Noam Sharif's music for woodwinds, trombone, piano, and bass. All these composers saw themselves as creators of a new style of art music, the Mediterranean style. Songs were always accompanied by dance. Styles varied with the different regions of Yemen. The Khabani from the east, and those from the center near Sa'ana. Drumming was used by all. Mourning the destruction of the Second Temple resulted in the prohibition of using musical instruments. The Yemenites, stringent in their observance, accepted this ban literally. Instead of developing the playing of musical instruments, they perfected singing and rhythm. Another unifying factor is the Diwan, a 300-year-old collection of liturgical hymns dating to Rabbi Shalom Shabazi, the greatest of Yemenite liturgical poets. The Diwan, the basis of all songs for men, is always divided into three parts. The first part, called the Nasheed, is an introduction, always sung by a soloist. In Yemen, the Jews could be distinguished from the Arabs by their simonim, side locks. They are still part of their traditional costume. The nasheed concludes with a paraphrased verse from the Book of Psalms, chanted in a set melody, which serves as a bridge to the second part, called Shirah.
حكم وذا زابيب عين الالفا عن واسجرا شنا وقومي ثورنا التمام اللاحظ وعبرات تحمد وغمتين حبارا.
When the atmosphere becomes charged, the singer switches the melody or changes the rhythm. The more switches there are, the more successful the event and the more esteemed the singer. Most liturgical hymns are sung in Hebrew or Arabic and some in Aramaic. The dancers also express the content of the hymn. The singer is in constant contact with the dancers. The dance fulfills a cultural custom and is not merely performed for its own sake. The music never slows down, but rather accelerates constantly. At the end of the Shirah, the singer recites the last line. This signals the beginning of the third part of the Diwan, the Hallel. The Hallel begins and ends with the word Hallelujah. It is always sung to a fixed melody, a living testimony of the most ancient sounds of Jewish music that, despite the millennia of exile in Yemen, remain unchanged. The Hallel consists of prose, including numerous biblical quotations. Its source is the Hallel prayer, recited in the synagogue on holidays and also on Hoshana Rabbah, the last day of the Tabernacle Festival. There is evidence that this is the way it was sung during the days of the temple.